Okay, yeah, it's recording. All right, so Robin, we wanted to have your feedback on the screens for the box configurator journey. So we did a few changes from our last iteration, and I already shared the screens with Glenn, Rich, and Fraser. But there are some points that probably you would be the best person to help us, like what type of data do we need to have on this design project, and what type of metrics do we want to have in the final report. So those kinds of things, I believe you will be a huge help. So I'll give you a quick walkthrough the journey, but if you have some comments or questions, feel free to interrupt me, okay?
Will do. Thank you.
All right, so this is the dashboard, the design dashboard. And here the point or the goal is to have some recommendations here on the top. And these recommendations, we didn't discuss them very well yet, but those should be like globally speaking. It won't be related to a specific project, it will be globally speaking. And then here on the bottom, we would have the design projects. And this is where all of the design projects that the user can create will live. And that's the journey that I will start. So we have this button here, create design projects. So once we start the design project, we will have this dialog just with a few fields, such as the project name, the members, if the user wants to add some members, and the analysis type. And this analysis type, we would have a drop down with some options, but we still need to understand what kind of options we would have here, and if the different options would change the journey. But let's assume that for now we will have a full analysis. So we would create design projects, and then we would start this wizard with the 6 steps. The first one is related to the primary products. And the first question that we are asking is if it's a mixed pack. And if it's a mixed pack, then the number of different products or variants that the user wants to include in this mixed pack. And according to the number that the user inputs here, we would have the same number for the primary products here. So the goal here is to understand what's the primary products or products that we are talking about. So then we can give recommendations and the user can continue with the journey. And for that, for each primary product, we have these questions. So the first one is if the SKU reference already exists. If we already know that reference and if it's already within the database. If yes, then we need to understand if the user knows the SKU reference, because if he does, probably he would just paste the reference here, and then we would be able to show him the SKU references, the different 3D scans related to that SKU reference, and he would be able to see each one. And the point here is he would need to select one to continue, okay? And he would need to do the same for all the other products. So this is the simplest approach. The other one is, and I've been doing some changes here, but the other one is if he doesn't know if the SKU doesn't exist yet. So here we would have the no selected, and he doesn't know the SKU reference as well. So for that, okay, so the SKU reference doesn't exist, so this question isn't needed. And since the SKU reference doesn't exist, we need to understand what kind of product are we talking about. So these are the fields that we are considering to ask to the user, such as the parent group, company, category, and all of these fields are the ones that we have within ARIS. And also the packaging dimensions and material, and then some details about fragility and sensitivity, special handling requirements. So these fields, we are not very sure if they are needed and if they are the most relevant ones, but the point here is to gather all the data, the most relevant data related to a primary product, so we can continue the journey. And then we would also have a section for them to add the 3D scan of the primary product if they already have one, but they would be able to continue without adding the 3D scan. And what can happen is that we may have a mixed pack with a primary product that already exists. So with this approach, right, with the SKU reference already there, and another one, for example, the primary product number 2 would be one that is a new one. So we would need to gather all of this data. Okay.
Yeah. In terms of the,
yes.
I'm just thinking about the primary product, the questions we need to answer, and what we are going to be. Are we going to be specifying material on the basis of these questions?
And this isn't intended to be. It needs to be believable.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be capable of
That's fine.
physically working.
So I suppose I'm just looking at parent group company. Dimensions. Material. There may be more than, so in primary product reference, it might be worth having 2 material boxes, because in some cases there may be a cap and a can or a lid and you know, the jar, you've got a lid and a glass jar. So it might be that there's more than one product or more than one material that they could list. Okay. I mean, so maybe dealing with metal and glass or plastic and aluminium, or not that I think it makes a massive difference, but it makes it more relatable probably for a brand owner that's thinking about their specific product. Consumer unit format.
Just one question on that, Robin. Do you think that we could have, instead of material, having materials in plural?
Yeah,
do you think that would
could,
solve?
To be honest, a drop down, Sophia, do you mean with multiple radio buttons? Do you mean that they could click and say yes, it's glass and it's aluminium, or yes, it's, you know, I mean, as an example, just to give people the ability, if they're going to be filling this out, to make it relate to various different products.
Okay.
Sensitivity to temperature. Is the format that it's going to be supplied in important?
Is it? I mean, so what this needs to be able to do is convince people who we talk to today, plus people who we don't talk to today within the company, that this conceivably would do a job.
Yeah, all I'm thinking is, if my head might be in the wrong place. I'm thinking if we're going to be effectively co-packing and we need this information to determine, we need to know how we're not going to get Coke cans in, and I mean, how are they going to come in? I mean, are they going to be palletized? Are they going to be wrapped? Are they going to be in a dump bin? Are they going to be tumble filled? We've no idea. So we need to know. We need to understand what delivery format will be for primary products. That's important. Are we going to get them in pallets stacked 10 high? Or are we going to get them shrink wrapped? Or, I mean, that's all important for understanding how we then break them down and what that looks like.
Well.
So that would definitely be, I suppose, inbound delivery or inbound palletization as a category you could add in, and then I don't know how much detail that needs. I don't think it needs fleshed out massively, but just
I think just so you said.
Yeah, pallet size, pallet height, pallet wrapping. all
Okay.
of those things are, I'm assuming
Dump bin.
dump bin, yeah,
Yes.
just so that we know that there's options and things they can fill in about how the goods are going to be delivered.
Okay. And I'll ask a question that probably we will discuss after, but on the packaging perspective, we also have the pallets and shipping information. So my question is, do you think the data that the data that we need to gather from a primary product perspective will be the same that we need to gather from a packaging perspective?
No, I think
Okay.
goods in versus goods out are going to be very different in terms of palletization
Okay.
because we're putting a box or some form of collation unit around whatever this primary product happens to be. So it'll change. Those two things are not relevant, but it's definitely data I think we would want to capture. I mean, what our customers' palletization is coming into us, because then we've got data we can analyze.
It could affect the contract price depending on how much work we have to do with what we're presented with. So dump bin would probably be cheaper than unwrapping individual boxes, for example.
Yeah. And I think
Okay.
it's things like how it's going to give us information about how much storage space their product is going to take up as well. Do we have quantity? Or does that come in further down? The overall quantity of packing of primary units? Or does that come in somewhere else? So, yeah.
The quantity, it will be in the package details.
Perfect. Is that okay? We'll wait till we get to that stage and then I'll see if I can link it back. Just thinking.
Okay, but sorry to interrupt you, Robin, just one question. So we have a mixed bag, right? And we may have different products within that mixed bag. But do you think that's important to understand how many primary products number one we will have in the mixed bag? Because we may have like two items related to the primary product one and one item from the primary product number two, right?
Yeah, I mean they can, yeah, and in theory they can mix and match however they wanted to. So yeah, you might find that there's three primary products, but there's 3 times as much of one as there is of 3 required in any one.
No, it's not your.
And I can't think of a case that we do that at the moment, but there may be. So it'd be good to understand what the split is.
Okay.
Of in each SKU, primary product 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Okay. So we need to have the quantity per mixed bag here as well. Okay.
I suppose just, yeah, underneath the multi-pack units, just to say like number of primary product 1 per SKU 2 and 3, so you know what that packing configuration looks like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Ah, it's here. Sorry. Consumer units per pack. It's here, right?
Perfect.
It's this one. Yeah, I forgot that we have here. Yeah, so we have the consumer unit formats and the consumer units per pack.
Perfect.
Okay.
Is there anywhere that we note down some of, I mean, and again, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but is there any way some brands will want a specific configuration because of the way we know consumers shop?
So the intention would be that this is what you do to get a price.
Yeah.
If that's approved and it becomes an order, part of the, we talked about the enhanced bill of materials. So the bill of materials is the physical stuff.
Yeah.
The enhanced one also includes the digital stuff that we need to help configure the systems and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So they would give us, for want of a better word, a spreadsheet.
Like a
that
pattern.
says for the first 500 for this regional split, I want this variant configuration.
Yeah.
Second 500, I want this variant. So it could just be as simple as ABC, BAC, da 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 da.
Yeah.
So that's very specific to the SKU that you're building at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't necessarily need that particular detail on this bit. We just need to know that there are 3 and there are variations.
Cool. That's great. That's all I was thinking was you need to add this at this point, but no is the answer. That's grand.
Okay.
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 Electrostatic sensitive. Suppose one of the other questions we need to ask is can the product support weight? So some products can weight bear and others cannot.
I've seen that somewhere.
Even
I know about that.
Okay.
Can't see it there.
no.
Yeah, we only have the weight of the primary product, not the weight that
Yeah.
he can support. I
I
think.
suppose it's self. Do you know what I mean? Self-supporting is not that's not the right phrase, because actually self-supporting refers to whether it can stand up or not. I suppose that is also important. Can it be? Does it stand?
So where this comes from, Sophia, is that if we were packing these will take their own weight plus the weight of anything that's going to go above. So the cardboard is essentially a collation device. It keeps them together. Whereas if this was more fragile, the cardboard would need to take the weight of itself, but everything else above it, because these were really fragile.
Yeah.
So it would change. It would mean that the weight of the cardboard would need to be significantly higher if you have to protect this, as opposed to just keep it all together.
Okay. Okay.
So
So that's
the output of all this feeds into like the design software that doesn't yet exist, and we would then come up with a board grade or the size of the compression member needed
to support
to create those packs that are strong enough to do that job.
okay. Okay. So that is something that we need to ask at this point, because the next step would be the packaging details. And there we would be suggesting some cardboard, if the cardboard is strong
it's
enough.
probably another one of your fragility and sensitivity ticks that it's just like, whatever we call it, weight bearing, or there is a term.
I mean,
I thought it was self-supporting, but you're right.
self-supporting. Yeah, you could misconstrue that, couldn't you? I can't remember what the phrase we use in Iris is off the top of my head.
When the box needs to support its own weight plus the product versus where the product supports itself. Yeah. What do we call that?
Weight bearing, yeah, or load bearing. Yeah, so either the product is load bearing or it's not. Yeah.
So we just need words. So do we just have load bearing and a tick box, a slider? Or do we need something that explains that a bit more?
Potentially need to explain. You won't see me either. I'm not here. Yeah, I think load bearing probably just and have a little description that talks to the fact that the product needs to be able to support weight. If the product can't support weight, then it needs a different, because that will significantly, if this is just for costing purposes, automatically there's a a change. And one of the other equations again, if this part is going to do, it's going to generate a quote. Then the other part that informs that is what the maximum pallet height is. Because we know products can support up to a certain point, but depending on how many we're stacking on top of each other, you multiply the weight on the bottom one. I mean, it's incremental. So if they tell us they're stacking them 20 high, that has a big impact on what we're going to do in terms of design versus stacking them 4 high.
So you've got palletization in this, haven't you, Sophia?
Yes.
Right.
We have
just
here
make sure that the pallet, the weight bearing thing's not in there.
Okay, because let me just check. So we do have the configuration units per box, like how many products facing, how many products deep, and how many products high from a package perspective. And then we have also the same from a pallet's perspective. So how many boxes deep and how many boxes high? Does this make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But we still got weight bearing.
We still definitely load bearing needs to go in that other in the first.
Yeah, so under that
here.
Was it fragility and sensitivity? If you can just add one there, Sophia, of should we just call it load bearing?
Yeah, I'd actually be tempted to put it at the top as well, because it's the most likely, that's the most important question, I would say, of all of those.
Okay. Okay, and right after the load bearing, that just the toggle, we would have like an input text where they can write some notes that is important to
Okay.
that load bearing.
No, I think we need to. So you've got what I meant there was you've got determine if the product's prone to breakage. So you've got like a little prompt underneath that.
Yeah, so if they hit that,
Yeah,
they get that. So all these,
have little prompts as well.
yeah. So
Perfect.
have you got prompts for all of these, Sophia, or do you need us to fill them out for you?
Yes, I don't like. I have some descriptions because I asked ChatGPT, but probably they are not accurate enough. You know.
Can we do that easily? We write these what we want to appear there. Yeah. If you send us a snip of this, please, Sophia, then
Sure.
Robin can give us some expert generated.
It's good to know that I'm more. I know more than ChatGPT. There's a claim to fame for the week. The other thing that I suppose, so we've got prone to break, we've got sensitivity. The other question is like chemical sensitivity, but impact of breakage. Because if it's paint, for example, and you break it, we've got a major issue with contamination. If it's powder or milk-based product and it breaks, again, we've got a massive contamination issue.
So if we were doing this for real,
Yeah.
we would go through these line by line.
Yeah.
Do you think for the purpose of this, to talk to a customer, to blaze through it?
Yeah. I mean, you can. I'm adding them in because they're thoughts that are going through my head. But then you can choose to. Choose to ignore them or not. It's not my. It's not my project. But yeah, I would somewhere we should ask a question. I mean, maybe it's special handling requirements. We need to just add something that says, like.
So like one of the hazards, do you think?
Hazardous materials or like. I don't know. Yeah, I think we've probably got it covered actually now with those hazardous materials, temperature control, time sensitivity. Fragrance or there's fragrance or contamination concerns, so that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Or taint. Fragrance, taint is another word I would put in there, Sophia, just because taint is often a concern of anyone in the food industry.
Okay.
And it's the same. That's the kind of technical term for.
So just add the word taint into that.
Yeah, just fragrance slash taint, TAINT, spelled as it sounds. Or contamination concerns, and that can be. It might be worth having that as a rather than a slider, having a slider and then a little box that they can fill in to say what those are specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I suppose for all of these, does it? Yeah. Again, if it doesn't, what happens if they click yes? Are we just supposed to guess what those are, or are we asking them to give us information about what those are? Because actually, if I need to know it's sensitive, if as designers we need to know it's sensitive to temperature, we need to know what temperature range is sensitive to. So they probably all do need some kind of text input prompt. Otherwise,
yeah, that's a good
point. Yeah, it's impact resistant, but it's finger in the air for me. What is the impact resistance?
Yeah.
And if they don't know, if they just toggle and they don't know, then they can always. It's always something we can help them work out. Do you know what I mean? But if they do know, then this is the point to specify it. So I think an input, a text input box would be
okay.
Good.
Okay. I'm thinking that if they select the toggle, probably we could show an input box, an input text box where they can write the specifications.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That makes
So
sense.
for the purpose of this, we can just leave that as a free text thing, can't we?
Oh yeah,
We don't have to
absolutely.
be pre-filtering out, adding units and stuff.
No.
So just a free text box, Sophia.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, so then the next step is the package details.
Mhm.
And here we will show the current package if it already exists. If not, we wouldn't be showing this part. But if it already exists, then we would be able to show the current package used and the SKU family. with the last use date, so they can view the 3D scans that were used in the past. Then here on the project scope, they would define if this project is just for a box change, sorry, if it's for a box change or if it's just an artwork change.
Mhm.
If it's a box change, then we would need to gather more data. If it's just artwork change, they would be able to just upload a new artwork and continue with the process. So if it's a box change, then we would have this new section for the new package. And considering all the data that we gathered previously related to the primary products, we would be able to suggest some package, but we would be able to suggest some package, meaning that we would populate all of these fields, but the user would be able to edit them if he wants. So for that we have, yes, Robin,
I was just gonna
sorry.
say, if that's the case, what might be worth doing is moving like consumer units per box to above the configuration tab, so that it's very clear that if they put in 24, all of these boxes underneath self-fill. Do you know what I mean? So they populate.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So for me, that would make it much clearer if you said, you know, above you type in the number of consumer units, and then this configuration will populate with the best, if this is the intention, the best possible configuration our system works out for you. But should they choose to make it like 2x12 or 3x4 rather than 2x12 too high, then they change it. It keeps the same number, but they can change what that configuration is. But essentially, splitting that out, I think, means all they really are initially responsible for is putting in the number of consumer units per box. And if they're not interested in changing it from the best possible, then they don't have to.
Okay. Okay. Yes, we could change this one to
Yeah,
above.
just to differentiate it, because it looks there like you have to fill it all in, but actually what's quite unique about that they probably won't realize unless it's separated out is that essentially they just have to put in the consumer units they want, and the system will do the work.
Okay. Okay, and what about the type of box and the dimensions? Do you think that would be related to the consumer units per box as well? Or this?
Oh, he's still here. In terms of type of box, I think I say subjective. I am guessing how type of box. I suppose like installation unit, display unit. I don't know how we categorize that makes it relevant to everybody. Retail ready packaging, shipper. I'm not 100% sure what the best drop downs for that are. But I mean, so there's an infinite number of potentials, and lots of people call them different things, is where my head's at with this. So I don't know if type of box, we have to ask that question. Just don't know how you categorize that drop down. I mean, make it, but you could retail ready packaging, transport, shipper, display unit. I don't know. Floor standing display unit. I mean, what do you?
Well, it depends how many products we're going to be able to make through.
Yeah, absolutely. So retail ready packaging makes sense. Shelf ready packaging, is that more commonly talked about than retail ready? We talk about RRP, most of our customers talk about SRP, don't they? I think it's fine. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm talking out loud.
What else is on that drop down?
Is there anything else on the drop down, Sophia, just now?
Yes, we would have different types of boxes here within the drop down.
Okay.
But my question is, do you think this is something that the user wants to select, or this is something that we can recommend to the user?
It's a hard one because a lot of the time they have a very good idea of what they want.
So if we were making it all about nano, the minimum is retail shipper, SRP or RRP, ecom shipper.
Yeah.
MU.
Yeah.
Tray. Discount thingy, whatever we call that.
Discounter tray.
But the one with the lid on, the hood and tray.
That's, yeah.
Whatever we call that. So there's 6 that we are pushing that we can do on Nano, aren't they?
Yeah. So I think the drop downs, yeah. I mean that I think for the purpose of that, Sophia, it makes sense to use the drop down and fill it with 6 that we can manufacture in Nano. And I think the one thing I would definitely specify either way is, I think external. I think we have to say external length, width, and height is really important.
Okay.
Because they won't necessarily know what their internal can be, but we need to make sure they don't measure an internal and give us that.
Okay.
So it's external length, width, and height. And it would be good, it sounds really stupid, but to have an image of an arbitrary pack, an arbitrary cuboid with making it very obvious what is length, width, and height. Because the number of times that is length and width are very often mixed up. We typically
Okay.
talk about length, depth, and height, so that it's less ambiguous.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
The
Okay.
other thing that needs to be ticked on that is if they select retail ready packaging, what's important is knowing what the front face is going to be. So is the front face the length, or is it the width? So just a little, like a little radio button underneath length and width that says front face, so they can select either the length as the front face or the width as the front face, because that's important.
Okay.
Cardboard color. I think we have to specify internal and so inside. We talk about inside face and print face, but what would I'm just trying to think what I think internal color is important. External color we can define, well, no, maybe not. They want it brown. So we need external paper color and internal paper color as two drop downs.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right way of phrasing it, but
if we were having a standard board grade, because we're using CMs,
always
would we just
brown.
But the only reason they pick brown because of cost.
No, sometimes it's look. Sometimes they want white on brown print. They might say, yeah, actually, we just want white on brown print, so it looks sustainable, or it looks more eco-friendly. So let's go with that. If they don't make a selection, like you could always, one of the drop downs, you could allow them to select, or like if they don't select, there's a default. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's important we have an external color and internal color. Call it that just now because it probably makes sense to market to people, but we would call it print.
I mean, ironically, if they wanted white print on brown, we'd print brown on white and leave the word out. It's you can't print white.
You can't. I'm forgetting that. So I was going to say, no, we don't. We just double click white, but yeah, you can't do that on double clicks. Yeah. But yeah, it's still going to be there's still people going to ask for brown, isn't there? They're going to say we want because cardboard is brown, and everybody's starting to like that. So I think just both make sense. It means they've got a choice, and letting them know they've got a choice is probably important for the sake of demonstration.
Okay, sure. And what
cardboard
about
footprint? Can you explain cardboard footprint, Sophia? I don't understand what that's asking.
Yeah, the carbon footprint was related to the sustainability.
Okay, that's me. I like the cardboard footprint. I was like, I just apologies, not enough coffee. Carbon footprint, I understand. Cardboard footprint didn't make any sense.
Sorry, carbon.
Are they determining, what does that drop down look like? Like, what are they determining with carbon footprint?
Yeah, I'm not very sure what would be the options, but here it would be, I don't know, but something related with the sustainability. If we could use some materials that have a less carbon footprint, something like that.
I think we just always assume that's what we do.
Because this is under the dimensions tab, did this refer to whether they maximize logistics efficiency?
I think one of the things we should have in here, based on that thought, Glenn, is maximize for pallet fill or maximize for shelf fill.
Yeah.
So there should be there should be a
3.
yeah. There's
What's the third one? Non-shelf availability is logistics.
equipment shelf. On shelf availability is shelf fill as well, but equipment is pallet and shelf.
Okay, so we should
So those
have
people like employees, but you can't maximize it. I mean, in terms of employees, you can't maximize it for them. So pallet fill, you want them to make a selection between. Are you?
The slide that was got sliders on. You could choose to weight. You could go all in on one of them, or you could move them into. Can you remember what there were 3 things on there?
Employees, equipment, engagement, PEs.
You
Were
didn't
the
call it
3?
that.
No.
It was on-shelf availability,
Mm-hmm.
logistics.
I don't know because I've not seen the slide. The ones in Iris are employees, equipment, which is shelf, pallet, and engagement. But they're the main. In essence, there's a choice to be made between in terms of dimension, do we optimize for pallet or do we optimize for shelf? Because one, you might hit the lucky jackpot and then we can do both, but not always.
Okay. Okay, and just another question related to the cardboards. We were talking about it's not the size of the cardboard, but if it's thick or if it's gross, about the strongness of the cardboard. Do we need to have that information here?
About the strength of the board, I don't think that's something we'd give them a choice over.
No, because
that'd be just defined by all of these values.
Okay.
So all these values effectively come up with a design, Sophia, and part of the design is the compression member width. So, we were saying about the cup. If it had to support its own weight plus everything else, you'd end up probably full width CMs. Whereas if you said, actually, these are just standard, they can bear their own weight, you'd end up with no CMs.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Okay, so yeah, so that is not something that they need to select. We would
No.
We're not going to give them a choice. That's
define that.
The beauty of the system, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't get to pick.
So we will design a box that's just good enough.
Okay. So here we need to have if the option if they want to optimize for pallets or for shelf, right? Yeah. And I was wondering if that question should happen before here at the top, because considering
it's probably fine. I mean, it would make sense to leave it where it is for me, Sophia. I'm just trying to think through what else we answer in Kate. But yeah, I think I think it fits there fine. I'm just looking at and I don't think it needs. I wouldn't put it any higher up. I think it'll be fine there.
Okay.
It's in the right. They're in the right headspace for answering that question by the time they've got to that section, if that makes sense. Insert flyer. Artwork. It's fine.
Yeah, and then we would have the production details. And here on the production details, we would have this price matrix, which is the same that we are using within the production request journey, with some prices related to the size of box. So this part here, the number of primary products, probably we don't need to share all of these numbers because the user already selected the number of primary products that he wants. So probably we just need to consider the size of box, but this would be helpful for them to understand the difference of price between
Could you
the
show them configuration there? Would that make sense, Glenn? So if you had the number of primary packs, if you've got a standard number of primary packs, would it not make more sense to show them the configuration of?
This is specific to Nestle. This is like a rate card.
Right.
So this is so that they don't need to run it through procurement. They effectively agree these values up front. So whatever the size of the box limits are that we agree means extra small. Then this, because this is the picks that determines how long it takes the robot to do it, it's almost like a predetermined price.
Okay.
So that's not how we would generally run this stuff,
Right.
but this is how Nestle
Want to see it.
running it. So
Yep.
we kind of said, okay, we'll indulge that.
Yeah, fine. Ignore me, Sophia.
Okay.
But in future, because this stuff's a lot more predictable,
Yeah.
you could move.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
wondering if when you look at price matrix, actually, if we're trying to get people to pack efficiently and pack the most efficient way for us, then what you might want to do is say, for example, if you've got 30 primary packs, you could pack it like 2 by 15 or 3. I mean, the configuration of the box would determine how much it costs
What feeds
potentially.
into that is whether they've maximised logistics or on
Yep.
shelf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you're not allowed to change that, you can't flex it. at all,
Exactly,
can you?
we can't offer true. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. No, I've got
Okay.
the background.
Okay. Yeah, then we have the minimum order quantity, and this is related to their service level agreements, which they could change, paying an extra, and then the number of boxes. But again, this would be something that the third-party contractor manager or even the brand manager would need to validate before going into production. This is just an overview for them to understand what kind of production or what kind of prices they may have. And then we have
this is almost like a sandpit. Whatever it comes out with goes to a person who double checks it before we actually hit the button.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the pallets and shipping information. And we have these fields here. So we have the number of boxes per pallet, how many boxes deep and how many boxes high, the orientation, the type of pallet, the dimensions, and then some accommodations extras. And
here, rather than asking how many boxes high, you probably ask for a maximum pallet height value. Because in a lot of cases, they're not going to be able to tell you how many boxes high. They just know that it can't go above 1300 or it can't go above 1700. They might not have the information about how many boxes. So if the question is, like, if they tick on the previous column that they want to optimize for pallet fill, this information should essentially be pre-populated.
Yeah, auto-filled.
But it might change depending on if the first question should be pallet stacking limitation or pallet height limitation, or I mean, because that's typically what we work to. A lot of our customers have a very specific or strict pallet height that they won't go above. But if they don't, then we would always just trying to think.
Yeah, some sites have got particular pallet racking limitations. So they might have lorries that can go higher, but they can't fit them in the racks.
Yeah. We also need to know there needs to be a double stacking or no double stacking toggle button. So double stacking, yes or no, because we need to know that affects what we do.
Okay.
Orientation. One way of pallet can be up.
Well, no, I think that's that you could. So one of Russell's slides is that you could.
You can tip on their back.
Choose to pack it in a different orientation if you wanted to maximise your pallet fill.
Yeah.
So here, maximum pallet height.
Yeah.
Overhang allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, overhang's not on there, is it? So yeah, overhang.
So once they've told you the maximum pallet height, Sophia, and whether you're allowed to have any overhang off the pallet, everything else is kind of it just becomes a calculation.
Yeah. And the other question we need to know is specific pallets. A lot of
Well,
people
so
will
we've
only
got-
use type of pallets there, yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, so type of pallet, overhang, baseboards and like specification, like, do you know what I mean? And as it, what's the, like, we need to know whether they want it shrink wrapped, top boarded, strapped. Like some of them have very specific specifications about how they want to receive goods in.
That
So
could be what that means. So if you had
Yeah.
a problem, you'd shrink wrap it?
Yeah.
So I think the wording might need a bit of tweaking, but I think you've got here what we mean, Sophia. It's just it's not common.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think when you've got accommodations or extras, you'd have, rather than humidity, you'd have shrink wrap, pallet bag, top board, strapping, like, do you know what I mean? Strapping
Two-way or
configuration,
four-way strapping.
two-way or four-way strapping. Layer pads. Some people specify layer pads because they layer pick. So that's quite important. Maintain the stability of the pallet. Corner posts.
I thought that was us that needed layer pads, not them. Because as we shuffle the product from the factory, so from the conversion machine to the strapping bay, I thought that's where we needed.
Like some of them are built with layer pads. They'll build their own pallets to ship product out with layer pads. So we would have to do that. Do you know what I mean? Co-packers might build with layer pads to keep a pallet together while they're doing it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're building a pallet, you put bottom layer on layer pad, next layer on layer pad, so that they can strip them off in layers rather than everything. No, there's not. I mean, I couldn't say percentage wise how many, but you would want to ask if they want them, if they want a layer pad between. All right, so we've got pallet bag, shrink wrap, pallet strapping. You'd have a drop down or a toggle 2-way or 4-way.
Okay.
Top board, layer pads. We need to know about corner posts. Yeah, corner posts required. And obviously the main questions in the section above are they double stacking? Will they accept overhang? And what type of pallet? The rest of them, in terms of boxes deep, boxes high, orientation, they're things that we typically, our system should be able to give a best practice out or a best in class output. That makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, if we would know the pallet dimensions limitations, we would be able to fill in everything. So we don't need the user.
I think you could leave orientation, like orientation requirement, and do you know what I mean? If it's specific, like if there's something like pack orientation, if they have a very specific requirement that it must be shipped on its back for whatever reason. Sometimes I think an example we've used in the past is coffee jars. They're typically shipped upside down, because then when you turn the coffee boxes upside, you don't end up with a headspace gap. So those kind of things, they might say that it has to be that orientation, but but the likes of how many deep, how many high, I don't think a brand manager typically would know that.
Okay, and the type of pallet we can leave it as well, right?
Yeah, type of pallet is important. Absolutely. The type of pallet, the reason length and width aren't important to you is because type of pallet typically determines that, and there's not an infinite number. I suppose you could have type of pallet, bespoke being one of those drop downs, and then a bespoke pallet box, like dimensions for that, just in case there's something very unique.
Okay.
Yeah, because then that would trialing a new pallet size from a logistics perspective.
Yeah. I think it's quite unlikely, but you never know.
Well, this is the tool that they'd use to figure out what does it look like. And
also as co-packers, you're the place they're going to test that. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna play about that they are not on the end of the production line. So yeah, I think a pallet type, bespoke as part of that drop down, and then bespoke length and width being text boxes they can enter information to if they choose that drop down.
All right.
But the likes of shock protection, vibration protection, and tilting probably could come out, couldn't they? I don't think they wouldn't, as a designer, they wouldn't give me information. I don't think that I would I would
Well,
assume it's always going to be subject to shock anyway.
Did you have anything particular in mind with those three at the bottom, Sophia?
Not really. These are more as placeholders. But this would be related to some extras that we should consider for the palettes.
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking them through. I mean, there's nothing there. We know they're all subject to shock, vibration, and tilt, so it's kind of a given.
Yeah, so just take them out then.
Yeah,
Okay.
nature of lorry transport.
Okay.
Get that,
Yeah.
Sophia. You get to delete some bits. Don't say we don't give you anything.
No, you are. And what about the transportation? So do we need to understand what is the transportation that the pallets will have? So if it's on boats or if it's on train, those kinds of details, do we need to have that here?
There was something that you were asking similar to that earlier. Where was that? That was on the sensitivity thing.
But we typically time sensitivity.
Time sensitivity and sensitivity to temperature.
I don't think it's in there, but yeah, we do. We absolutely need to know.
Cut back to your last one then.
Yeah.
It's ideal if we understand how far something's traveling.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
What means of transport? Typical storage conditions, and just trying to think what else. Yeah, storage conditions, double or single stack.
But Robin, just one point. So about the conditions for traveling, considering these these data that the user selected here on the fragility and sensitivity, and also the special handling requirements, considering this, we would know what are the conditions for transportation for the pallets, right?
No, not
No?
at all. So if you think some of our customers will be putting a pallet on a lorry and it'll go 100 miles, some will be putting it on a lorry and it'll go 500 miles to one distribution center and 500 miles to another distribution center. That has a big impact on how we specify a box, because we know that the longer it's in transportation, the more vibration and shock it's exposed to, therefore the stronger it has to be. So we need to understand how it's being transported, like what method of transport, a rough, do you know what I mean, an example journey. Do you know what I mean, as we use that, I don't know if you can ask that information as such, but we input that information typically into our analysis systems. So we would give a rough indication of, is it going to be 50 miles by A road and 40 miles by B road, and like in the UK that's always a question. 10 miles by motorway. Do you know what I mean, we try and work out typically if it's those breakdowns give us a different analysis of what it's going to be subject to. We need to know, is it chilled transport? Is it being shipped by air? Is it being shipped by road? Is it being shipped by train? Will it be double stacked in transport? How will it be stored? How long will it be in storage? Will it be double stacked in storage but not in transport? All of those things are. So some of our customers will specify single stacking in transport for lorry offloading purposes, but then they'll double stack in their warehouses. So that's their questions that it helps to understand the answers to, if they can give us the answers.
Okay.
Trying to think if there's anything else. Off the top of my head, no, but there might be other bits and pieces. I think if that was loosely covered, Sophia, it'd be enough to allude to the fact that we're looking at all of that to specify the strength and structure of the box, based on what Glenn said about this being a demonstrator, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I think those points that you talked are a good starting points for the demo.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right, so let's move forward. Then we have the third step, that is the retailers. And here the point is to gather the retailer's information where the user wants to put this package. And for that, we are asking the country, retailer formats, and store locations.
Yep.
And the user can add more than one retailer. So by clicking here, you would be able to fill in the information related to more than one retailer. And this will be, and as you can see here, we have drop downs. So they need to select one of the existing ones, because this will be helpful for the next step, that is the shelf utilization, because we need to understand what are the dimensions of the shelves for the different retailers, for the different retailer formats as well.
Would it
So
help at all in that one, Sophia? So you've got retailer formats. Do you know what I mean? And rather than having to add a different retailer to select another retailer format, you have the ability to select multiple retailer formats under that same retailer.
okay.
Because you might have them putting it into Tesco, Extra, Tesco Metro, do you know what I mean? So it and in with some retailers, the likes of the Asda and Nisa that are connected. Am I making that up? Do you know what I mean? Some of them have subsidiaries that are not necessarily the same brand, but they would be part of the convenience store channel.
Okay.
So yeah, it might just mean you don't have to do that multiple times, because you might find some of them are adding 50.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
There's only 7 main retailers, but you might find if they had to add for every different store format, it'd be a lot of additions.
Okay. Okay. So each retailer can have more than one formats.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll eventually, when you blow that up, there'll be linked to those formats will be names. Do you know what I mean? So like I said, Tesco Extra, Tesco Metro, Tesco, what's the other? There's another one, I can't remember, but they all have different, the formats have different names, so we'll be able to extrapolate all that when the time comes.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. And then the next step, so the shelf utilization, considering the retailers and the retailers formats that the user selected previously, we would have those retailers here. So as a start, we have a summary of the package, and then the retailer section with the different retailers that the user selected. And then for each one, we will have some brief details about it. And for example, here on the dimensions of the shelf, we are assuming that we will have this within our database, but for some reason, if they want to change this, they can click here on edit, and they would be able to edit the dimensions.
Yeah.
And then we have these two views of the depth utilization of the shelves. The current one and the improved one. So this is an example of a retailer where the platform would be able to suggest some improvements in order to increase the number of boxes that we are putting in the shelf. Sorry?
I would remove improved and make it recommended, because it might not improve based on my experience with Iris. Sometimes you end up with the same. Sometimes there's nothing you can do because they specify it has to be 6 products and nothing's changing. Do you know what I mean? So you can't do anything. So current and recommended at least means we're not trip ourselves up by saying we've improved it by doing nothing.
Okay. All right.
Retailer format. Retailer format, just for the sake of being pedantic, I would call that superstore.
Instead of supermarkets?
Yeah, there's superstore, convenience store, there's multiple, but hypermarket, but superstore is one that everybody understands. So it just means they'll immediately anchor that to big supermarket in their head.
Okay. Sure.
Current.
Okay.
Yeah, again, current pack and recommended or current configuration. So where you've got current state underneath, I'd call that current configuration, and then recommended configuration again. I think that's important.
Okay. Yes, because here the point is to have the details of the configuration. So we have the current one, and this would be related to this diagram here. And then the improved, sorry, the recommended one would be related to this one here on the top.
This is me being again pedantic, but I'm just wondering if actually making the current configuration, like segmenting that, so the current configuration information sits under that red image and the recommended information sits under the green image. So it's very much, you're looking at two tables, you're looking at current and you're looking at recommended rather than one versus the other and then reading the boxes underneath. I mean, just from digesting information perspective, that it would make it easier for me. Don't know if that follows.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. And we also could have this one here, sorry, in the top, because at this point we are already giving some recommendations, right? So we would have this like this, and then this one on this side. I need to change this.
Sorry.
No
worries.
worries.
Somebody asking to shift it all as you're doing it.
No, but it does make sense. Something like
it just
this.
means you can then really quickly read those columns and understand what's going on in their two separate sides.
Yeah, of course. Okay, makes sense.
It's better to get these requests in now than later once it's been designed.
Perfect. I could go on forever, Fraser.
All right. And then we had another use case, but I think for the demo purposes, we won't be using that, which is when the retailer is not a good fit for this package because of some reason. But I think we won't show this use case. And then we have another one that is when the retailer is a very good fit for the package, and we don't have any recommendations to give because it's already perfect, let's say. So we would, for the demo, I think we would use this use case and this one.
The only other thing that I don't know if it's worth showing, but might be important, is to show the supermarkets. We tried to do this in Irish, show comparatively, because sometimes for some of our customers, what's really important is Tesco. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to lose their listing in Tesco, so they're going to optimize for Tesco rather than optimize for Asda. If it's not great on their shelf, then they don't care so much. Sometimes it's important for the range, other times it's not. We used to quite often find that Co-op was particularly bad. Do you look at Co-op and it would always be crap? Not a single time did I ever present that and anybody say, oh dear, that's a real problem. So what might be good to show is if you have, say they've selected multiple retailers, to show them together somewhere so you can see what the current depth utilization in those retailers is and what the recommended is for them all together. So they've got a snapshot of this is what it achieves across all those. And I don't know if that's this page or a different page, but for me, that would be really important. If I was trying to work out what to do, 6 cases versus two 4s, if that 2 4s if it didn't work for Tesco and they were the ones I was trying to get it right for, but it worked for everyone else, that would change my decision.
Okay.
So at some point, I think it's important you see them together.
Okay.
So at this stage,
really complicated.
would we lean into they can make all of them?
I mean, it would be
That's the difference today. They can't.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to make all of them. Perfect. But it'd be good to show what they are going to have to make.
We'll do that in next play.
Yeah, but you could lean into, yeah, you can actually, now you can have best for Asda, best for Tesco, best for, that's 3 boxes, these 3 boxes. Whereas before we used to say it was a case of showing them. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But yeah, having them compared somewhere would be good.
Okay.
But I think it would.
Yeah, I'll think about a way of showing the comparison between the retailers.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, and then we have the marketing analysis, and this is where we would have the integration with the 3M VAS.
Yeah.
So what we discussed yesterday with Rich was that instead of having like this plugin that we click here, and then we would go into the 3M VAS website, let's say, we would have an uploads section for the user to upload the image directly here within the platform.
Yeah.
And then the analysis would happen inside the platform. So the user wouldn't need to go outside of the platform to do that analysis. It would happen here.
What are
So,
we asking them to analyze here? Because they're not going to have an SRP and a product together, are they, to analyze?
That's
So
a good question.
Do we ask them to upload a primary product image, or do we ask them to upload an artwork image of their? So if they uploaded a flat image of their artwork, it's going to be an image of their primary. There's no way we can compare primary and secondary pack together if it doesn't exist yet. If it exists, they could upload a photograph of it on shelf, or they could we could ask them to upload a shelf photograph of their product and a close-up, so the VAS software can analyze both and give them an idea of how it's performing. But I don't know where the value in this is unless they have, that's what they're analyzing, unless they're analyzing past in order to inform future, then they're not going to have artwork that they can analyze here, I don't think.
Okay.
Is the tripping point.
Okay. Yeah, but I think here the point would be to analyze the package itself, not the primary product. So if they already have that, they would be able to upload and do the analysis. If not,
we wouldn't analyze them. We wouldn't analyze the secondary pack without the primary product in it. It doesn't tell us what cuts through. So just to just analyze the front lip of an SRP, which is what you'd be analyzing without the primary product in it, doesn't give enough information from my perspective. Russ might disagree, but having broken these analysis down in the past, one without the other is not much use unless you're going to tell them how it performs empty on shelf.
Say in one of the earlier pages, can you upload a 3D model of the primary?
Yeah.
So we're thinking at that point we can superimpose all this stuff.
Perfect. If you can put them together, then and we don't need to do it. It doesn't. Do you know, if they don't need to upload anything, and our software goes like, yeah, okay, wrap this into box, put product in box.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's going to work.
That's the thought.
Yeah, that's fine. So that's what we're going at this stage. I don't think on the odd occasion you might put a front lip of an SRP through it to prove a point, but it would require somebody to explain all of that afterwards. But yeah, if what generates itself through this system is the 3D of the SRP with the top cut off and the product in it, brilliant. That I would definitely put through the VAS system.
Is it possible to get to a point where
You have to put it on shelf as well.
we would design the front lip to be sympathetic to the primary pack design based on what the VAS output is? So we don't even need a designer to be cutting bits off here, raising a lip there. It would analyze it and go, right, this is the money shot.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut the front lip around that to leave that there. And then I'm going to put this design on the front lip to complement what I can see of the primary. That's your pack. I don't even need a designer. Or is that ridiculous?
It's not ridiculous. You've always got branding to contend with.
But
So
in my head, they've already uploaded their rules to me. They've already uploaded their guidelines. So I know that I need a logo within millimeters of this thing, or because in the eventual future, if I'm giving them the ability to have any size box, in my head, the artwork is elastic. So I'm gonna stretch and tweak and twist and pull the artwork to drape it over this new box that's never existed before. And as long as I know their guidelines, I can make sure that the logo is always within X millimeters of the edge versus X millimeters of the other important thing, whatever it is.
Yep.
In my head, I don't need a designer, because if you tell me what your rules are, I'll just follow your rules.
Yep. In theory, yeah. In theory, it works. For very
So if you
For
deliver that, then
like, for-
Sophia, job done.
yeah, absolutely. No pressure, Sophia. We'll just plug in a designer. Absolutely. For very simple cases, that like right. I mean, my head's thinking through all the potential complicated ways there is to do these things. But in essence, if it was the box, the likes of the box for Aldi, where there's usually or Asda, for example, where typically it's green, there's a little bit of text that tells you what it is on the front, nothing else, or there's the Asda logo central, then yeah, absolutely, that's 100% doable. It's where you get more complicated, like Britvic squashed, for example, where it's creating packs and profiles and they want a call out of the fruit and all that sort of stuff that you'd really struggle to do that with. But simple products, simple packs, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, because
quick
yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry.
Sophia, a quick question for Robin. Do you think the people we're presenting this to are going to ask the questions you just asked, Robin? Are they that knowledgeable on this sort of information? Are we going to have to go into an in-depth explanation like?
I don't know. I think they're more and more aware of VAS, Fraser, because we presented it, because they've seen it, because they can access it, and it's free software online. So they're using it. Quite a lot of the brand owners are using it. So
Right.
they may know that actually it like doing one thing in isolation without the other is, some of them might. It would be a potential tripping point if they did. But if you take Glenn's magical explanation of, we're going to be able to form an image of the box in the primary, then put that through VAS. Absolutely, that's going to give you a really, really. I mean, that's a massive sell for marketeers. Be careful who you tell, because they'll want it tomorrow. But, yeah, it's. I think
I would just think of it storytelling. That's all. So yeah, as long as we can tell that piece effectively, that's
yeah.
my word.
I think as long as you could say to them, they can absolutely analyze. They can use the software to analyze primary in isolation and understand what cuts through from it. Then they can potentially design what they want to put on their secondary. I mean, on the basis of that. But I think the more powerful is the two together always.
So I've got the physical design that's contextualized by the primary.
Yeah.
And I've got the artwork that complements the physical design and the primary.
Yeah.
That can't be that hard. And then I've seen the average designer.
And then there's
can barely walk and chew gum.
And then there's shelf context as well, which is always the next. Like, we would typically plant something in a fake shelf and put it through VAS as well, so that you can say, does it stand out on shelf?
Oh, okay.
So that's the other bit we use VAS for. Like, how does this cut through visual attention wise on shelf?
Yeah.
So I mean, you could use that story to tell it, Sophia. It's very simple. The visual spell check, like, you capture a photo. We've probably got loads we could give you, or you could go into store and take some photographs of a shelf fixture, and you analyze the pack on the shelf fixture and say, this is gonna, in essence, combine the two and tell you whether or not it's got the right messaging to cut through on shelf.
Yeah, I already checked that feature in the 3M VAS. It's very interesting. I need to say. Yeah, but for this, at least for now, we were thinking on having the analysis just for the brands, for the package, and not for the shelves.
Yeah,
but
I would question what the relevance of that is.
Which?
Just analysing the pack, the primary pack. What's it telling them they can't do themselves online for free?
No, but is this not where we then overlay the secondary pack based on what we've picked out of there? Do you know what I mean? It would. So that is telling me that's important. That's important.
No, it's telling you what will be noticed in the first 30 seconds of looking at the shelf. So it's telling you that this name is going to cut through. And then what you've got is, so people know that they're the brand. I'm guessing Luna's the brand. So the brand comes through in the first 3 to 5 seconds. Next is dog treats, and the last part is this organic logo. So essentially, you either want to reinforce that information. This is where it's quite complex. And I'm not, I don't know what Russ's view on adding this in is, but my concern is that I don't know what this tells them without the two things together. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, so Luna cuts through that. We might be able to then say, well, you need to make sure that's on your SRP, because if it's part shopped, you'd want to see the products falling over, or you'd want to be able to see the brand first. But it's quite subjective. I think it not subjective, but it requires analysis and thought in order to be able to apply this. It's not.
So do you think for now then we just stick with the the software generated primaries because they give us the 3D scan of the primary with the secondary as we've created it from the data that they've given us.
Yeah.
And we go with a mocked up version of that and the VAS.
Yeah. I think if you've got a mocked up version of primary and secondary and you can say we scan it and we tell you what's going to cut through from both, that's important, because you can then say, well, actually there's no point having that information on there. It's not going to be seen, or I mean there's.
Yeah, so we don't want to head into murky waters that are actually going to.
No, I just don't think. I think for me, if you showed me this and I was the brand manager of Luna Dog Treats, I'd be like, what does this tell me about my SRP? That doesn't tell me anything about my SRP. It's not relevant to my shelf ready pack at all. It just scans my primary. Well, great, I could do that myself. I mean, that's where my head's at with this, and I don't know if that fits with Rich's view. I have no idea, but I'm not sure I see the value of just using VAS for the primary.
Okay, so we go with the mocked up finished version, don't we?
Yeah.
Which would be an SRP that's being separate. The lid would be removed, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's something you need, Sophia, we can give you an image of one of our. I'm guessing the best thing to use might be one of our DS Smith chocolate folds.
Yeah.
So we've got images we could send you if that'd be helpful to put in here.
Yeah, sure. Please do that. Probably I'll have some. I already have some good pictures as well, because Rich sent me the Iris deck with some good pictures. But if you can send those to me as well, it would be great.
Yep. No worries.
All right.
Can you drop me an email, Sophia, to remind me to do that? Because I will go back to my desk tonight. I'm driving back home to Scotland, and tomorrow when I open my laptop, there's every possibility I'll forget.
Sure, I'll send you an email.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So the last step is the report, where we gather all the insights that we have related to this project. So here we would have some details about the project, and this report would be the one. So this information that is here would be the one that, if I want to share this this project with someone else, this would be the report that they would be able to see. So we have these details here, and then we have the analysis. And here within the analysis is where we will have some charts. And these charts and these metrics, I took it from the Iris. So at least these ones are the ones that are available in Iris. And this one, the circular design matrix, was something that Marge asked us to use here, because I believe this is something relevant and that is important, and like a summary of everything. And for each part, we would have like I call it assessment, but it could be an analysis or a conclusion of the reports. So, for example, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, just said yes.
Okay. So, for example, this one, designed for reuse, we know that the answer is no. So here on the assessment part, we could have something about that, some suggestion about turning this project into a design for reuse. So that kind of logic. And then the same for each metric. So overall effectiveness, we can see the positive factors, the negative, and the opportunities to improve. And here on the assessment, we would be talking about the negative factors and also the opportunities to improve. And as of now, we have the overall effectiveness, structure, visual and physical effectiveness, overall inclusivity,
Yep.
fundamental OSA, and inclusivity.
What we've got, we've got visual, physical, overall, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, they all seem sensible.
Do you think there is something else that we need to consider for here?
I can't, I mean, not off the top of my head. I don't think so. We've got
Okay.
carbon footprint, and I was just going to suggest carbon footprint. I forget that's in our circular design metrics. That's fine.
Yeah.
Is there a summary? Do we summarize anywhere the potential? So, like, if they choose to select a design that is optimized, do we summarize anywhere where what we've achieved for them, or what what the design actually, what it does in terms of improvement if they accept the recommendations? And is that important?
Sorry.
Sorry, man. I was just saying, so if you've got a load of design metrics there, which are all, they're all informatic, I would say. Do you know what I mean? They're giving our customers information of what it achieves in terms of the design intent, but it doesn't summarize for me anywhere what it actually achieves. Like, does it improve pallet fill? Does it reduce logistics? Does it reduce cost? Does it, I mean, if they choose to accept our recommendations, do we need a summary that says these are all the things it's achieved? Like the value add effectively, or the value engineer? Does it need a?
Yeah, it needs to have. I don't know what it looks like though.
Yeah, we could have some metrics right in the top, in the beginning of the analysis, before the design metrics, with that value added. Like
Suppose improved palletization, improved shelf fill.
Yeah.
Like reduced time to pack. I mean, I don't know whether you make it a percentage or you make it a, I don't know. I'm not sure what the way to do it is, but I think it's important that you capture if they accept a recommendation that saves them money, saves them time, or saves them carbon. They're the three things that typically we're being asked to do.
Yeah.
From a BE perspective.
Okay. So
when we say carbon, is that sustainability, or is it extra things to sustainability other than carbon?
Fibre reduction as well, but do we want to enter into that? Because once you mention fibre reduction, they want cost reduction.
Well, fibre reduction, is that implied because you designed a box that it just does what it needs to?
Yeah. We're going to packaging weight reduction. I don't know. I think we have to be careful with what metrics you put in. That's probably not politically, it's not my my pig to wrestle, but I definitely we need to say what we've done. I mean, what the solution has achieved for them in terms of overall cost out or overall sustainability benefit, or I mean, I don't know what one you champion. I suppose have we asked them the question? Have we asked them what's most important to them at any point in terms of improving logistics, improving sustainability, cost reduction, like, and do we need to ask that question? Because if we ask it at the start, we can do the Ryanair, your flight arrived on time, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, rather than give them all the information, because in some cases we might not have reduced cost, but we have improved their sustainability credential. So do you know what I mean? If we ask them somewhere at the start of this process what their key driver for the project is, because there's always one, then we can, in our summary, we can blow our own trumpet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Okay,
comes back to
probably.
the slide that Russ had months and months and months ago, where you wait.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important because any of these changes they make, sometimes it's increased sales. Well, we can't quantify that, but we can quantify more or improved on-shelf availability, more on pallet, more on pack. There's various things, but I don't think I've seen that slide, Glenn, so it might be worth if you can dig it out, sending it to Sophia to build in.
Okay, I was wondering.
Where it is.
Sorry, Glenn?
Yes, and in the intro, it might be worth Sophia having a project details, project name, members, analysis type, and what would you call it? Like
The key drivers
key
or
drivers,
something.
yeah, absolutely. Project
Okay.
drivers. And if you've got cost reduction, improve, geez, I'm not going to jump up fiber utilization, do you? What would you?
Yeah, I think so. I think if we have here the key drivers with the option to select more than one, then in the report page we would be able to show them the metrics related to those key drivers that they selected.
Yeah, I think that's quite important because it's the icing on the cake, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not. I
Yeah.
suppose the cherry on top. That's the bit that we want to
Yeah,
show we've
definitely.
achieved.
Okay. All right. Yes, and we would leave these metrics as well, but we would add those ones about the key drivers on
Yeah.
top. Okay.
Is this that? So when you scroll up, Sophia, is this the intended? I don't know what stage you're at in terms of laying all this out. Is this how we anticipate it looking?
Sorry.
So under product details? Is this how is this the finished article in terms of how we're going to lay out the information? I'm just wondering if it might be better to kind of group. I don't know how we group it, but border it somehow so that we've got really clear. I'm finding that quite difficult to read.
Okay.
Okay.
I can think on a better way to display this.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but my eyes are all over the place with that. Like I'm kind of, I don't know whether to scan down or up or across. I mean, just some bordering.
Is this where Russ will have something quick and easy to go, based on all the current thinking around how we tie together the sustainability? You know, the three colours. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the nano swirl
Yeah.
thing. Have we got anything that is more contextual?
I don't know. I have no idea. I've not seen any of the new graphics or any of the work that's been done on Shelley, so it might be worth. Russ is going to watch this. I think he's going to watch the recording. So
Yes.
now's the time. Now's the time to ask him retrospectively if he has anything that might help to display, like we say, the piece about which of the key drivers it meets or how far it goes to meeting those key drivers in terms of sustainability benefit and efficiency benefit. And the third one I can't remember off the top of my head, which is awful, but I can't. But definitely on this page, if we can segment the information differently, that'd be great, Sophia, because I'm struggling with it.
Sure. If we can use the titles to be more highlighted, I think the information will be more organized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're there.
And just another comment. So the next actions that the user could take at this point would be to share the reports, download the reports, or submit. Sorry, I have that feature hidden here. Oh, it's here. Okay. So they could share the report, download the reports, save as drafts or deletes. And the main action would be to request a DSMeet review. So at this point, they would be able to send this report to DSMeet. So some DSMeet designer could review. And then the final action would be to create the SKU if needed, or to start the production of an existing SKU.
Perfect. That makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. I have here lots of notes to consider. Thank you so much, Robin.
Okay, apologies for being slightly late.
No,
If there's anything
no
else,
worries.
Sophia, just drop me a message. I'm at my desk tomorrow, so if there's anything you need,
Okay.
and if you ping me through an email, I'll look out some images. I'll see if what I can get hold of our like the packs we developed for our impact center, because I think that's a good example to put through as product and
Yeah, sure.
secondary together through the VAS software. That just it means
Okay.
it's specific to us, and we don't have to worry about anyone's branding or upsetting anyone or.
Okay, perfect. Yes, and I will send you the screenshot of the fragility and sensitivity points so you
Yeah.
can review everything, make
Perfect.
sure that we are using the right terms.
Brilliant. That's fab. I'll type in some notes.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing. No problem.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very much. Cheers, Sophia. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sophia. Bye.
Night, Fraser.
Thanks all.
Bye,
Take
Fraser.
care.